Imagine you do 150 UK nursing job applications, and then out of this, you get just one interview. And another day, it happens that you failed the interview. And how would you feel? This is the story of a lady I'm going to share with you in this video. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because I want you to learn one or two things that she did that made her fail her NHS interview. A few months ago, this lady friend contacted me and said she's been doing a lot of applications and she's not seeing any positive feedback. So to her, she felt like there was one or two things she wasn't doing right. So at the point, she sent me an email and said, is it possible I can go through her supporting statement and tell her one or two mistakes she's making? Frankly speaking, I couldn't get time to do that. So what I said to her was to just make sure that she's factoring the job overview, she's factoring the job description, as well as the person specification, because these are the things they are looking out from you. And if you're able to incorporate them in your supporting statement, you stand a chance of beating other applicants. After that, I didn't hear from her again until about a week ago when she sent me a message and said she's been shortlisted for an interview. In fact, I was happy for her because, people have done about 250 job applications without any interview. For her, she's only done 150. It's much. But, as I always say, you wouldn't know which hospital will give you the job you are looking out for. So just put in your applications. So lo and behold, she had the interview and she reached back to me and said, can I share with her one or two interview tips so that she's able to pass this once and for all? Because after 150 job applications, she wouldn't want to play with this opportunity. What happened was that I couldn't get much time to speak with her, but I shared with her a video I made on TikTok where I shared some tips you have to incorporate as a nurse to be able to appear pleasing to the interviewer. And I think I still have that video on TikTok at the moment. Besides that, there's one advice I gave her and said, just make sure that you are learning, you are studying your CV. I learned her CV was prepared by someone else, probably. And I just advise her that she has to make sure that she knows everything on her CV, because the employers are not dumb. They would want to make sure that you are the true reflection of what you see on the CV. And this is exactly the advice I gave her. But I don't know whether she adhered to it or not. Looking at her story, I felt like that was where she went wrong. So this is what happened with this lady. I think it was a Saturday. She had been scheduled for an interview. She went in before the interview. What this means is that she clicked on the link and was waiting for the interviewer to join. So what she said was that immediately the interviewers came, probably there were two of them, she felt tense and that it appeared everything she learned had gone. So usually with NHS interview, what happens here is that they would want to find out if you are the right person. Okay, you ask of your name and all those stuff just to do some background checks to make sure that you are the right person they are interviewing. So after they threw in some couple of questions to her, she became much more relaxed and then was able to answer some of the questions they asked her. And to her, there's one question they asked her that she felt it part failed her. You see, on her CV, she wrote some specific skills. And one of them was empathetic. She said she's empathetic as one of the skills she possesses. So according to her, the interviewer asked her, how would she demonstrate empathy to a patient? This is the question she believes failed her. I asked her, so looking at all the skills she put on her CV, did she think of the fact that they would want to find out how she can demonstrate all those things? She said no. And I also said to her that, do you remember I told you to study your CV, because most of the questions they will ask may be coming from your CV. It's just to ascertain that by the true reflection of what you have on your CV. She said, she believed that most of the questions were going to be practical. Yes, they asked her some practical questions, but just this question on her CV failed her. If you can explain how you can become empathetic to a patient, then what is the sense of putting that on your CV? So the mistake she did was she never studied her CV that much, to the point that she was not able to answer some of the questions the interviewer asked. So guys, my advice to you is that don't just prepare your CV. Make sure that your CV is a true reflection of you. What this means is that whatever you have put on there, you should be able to defend when you are asked a question. Okay, so let's say if you put good communication and you are asked to demonstrate how you can express good communication to a patient, you should be able to answer. If you put on there that you have interest in patient education and you are asked to, explain, or you are asked to talk about how you can educate the patient on this condition or that condition, you should be able to do that. Whatever you think you can't answer or defend, don't put it on your CV. This is a simple advice I usually give to most of my friends, because you're not just presenting a paper CV, you are presenting you. Your CV is the first impression to the employer. You just have to make sure that whatever is on there can be defended. Okay. I also heard of a friend whose CV had this job role that she's able to emotionally support mental health patients. I think she's a mental health nurse. Then they asked her a question to demonstrate how she emotionally supports mental health patients. Then she couldn't. So these are some of the things that may fail you. There are some petty things. No matter you see how many questions you answer right, you wouldn't be able to determine which question is so important to the employer. So just make sure that as much as you've answered like 9 out of 10 questions, just that one question you fail can put the employer off. So please make sure you are studying your CV.